Thank you very much, Daniel. Great session. I will drop in the chat a link to the next session for anyone that's moving over. Lots of people can stay around to ask you questions about timetabling. Thank you. You're all on, Stephanie.
Is this where I jump in
but
to
I
say
can't
that
hear you, Stephanie.
She's totally muted?
Stephanie?
And I don't think she can hear us either.
It's pop it out in the chat, maybe, Abid.
Totally lip syncing. I think Abid is great. I mean, the session doesn't work without Abid.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we've got you back. Yeah, you were on mute there for some reason.
Well, I had it connected to a different audio. Okay. So welcome to Bite Size PD. I'm going to throw in the slides in the chat. Please open these up in another tab. So that way you can kind of follow along. This is an interactive session, so you will be required to vote and give your choice on what you want to learn about today. It's quick, it's fun, and so go ahead and open up those slides. And as you're doing that, my name is Stephanie Howe. I'm an instructional technology coach in Pickerington, Ohio. And I do this session often with my teachers, and they love it because, again, it's quick, it's fun, and it's pretty engaging for them. They learn a lot of strategies that they can use tomorrow. So they can use these right away in their classroom. So what you're going to do is you're going to review the choice board. So here is the choice board. It's on slide number 3. And you're just going to kind of look it over. You're just looking at the names. There's not a whole lot of descriptions. And you're just going, I wonder what design packs are. I wonder what good morning is. And then you're going to vote for which one you want to know more about. So that's step 2, is you're going to vote for what you're curious about, what you want to know more about. And then step 3, you get to learn. Sometimes it takes me maybe 2 minutes to explain something. Sometimes it takes me 15. So depending on what you pick and what questions you ask in the chat is how long it will take to go over those different topics. So again, sometimes it goes like a minute. It's a quick hit and you're like, oh, I get this. And we just move on. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And so we're just going to repeat that process. So you might go away with 3 different tips from the choice board. You might go away with all 13. If I talk really fast and you guys are like, oh, this is great, keep going. So again, it's up to you guys on what you want to learn. And then at the end, I just put everything in a slide deck. So that should not say Wakelet, but you'll have all the resources in the slide deck. So if you want to learn more, it's all here. And there's videos with most of these resources. So that way you are able to learn and take away and kind of learn more if you want to on your own time. So right here is the voting. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and it's a Google form, and I'm going to throw this link into the chat. Please go ahead and start voting. You can vote more than once. You can vote as many times as you want. There's no rules. So you'll go ahead and you'll look up here at these different numbers, and then you'll decide which option you would like to learn more about. So like option 1 is the learning log. Option 2, thin slides. 3, pile of words. 4, maybe you want to learn how to break up an essay. 5 is good morning. 6 is order now. 7 is the CER draft day. Design packs is number 8. 9 is number mania. 10 is character apps. 11 is guardians of the Googleverse. 11 is the coaching menu. And then 13, worst presentation ever. So go ahead and vote. Again, you're going to vote as many times as you can. And we'll see how many options we can get to. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the results. Looks like we've already got a winner. Option number 11. So option number 11 is this Guardians of the Googleverse. And this one is really fun to do with your students at the beginning of the year. I found this on Twitter by Carrie Smith. And so she shared this entire template with teachers on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter, I highly suggest it. There's so many amazing educators out there. What your students do, though, with Guardians of the Google Verse, or if you're a coach, you could do this in a PD. You make it a game. And so the students are on different teams to learn and practice Google skills. She did this at the beginning of the year, but you could really do this at any point throughout the year if you want to review maybe some content, or if you want to use these Google skills to review. So here are the different teams for the students. They have to complete each of these different colored tasks. So right here, they have to complete this guy. I don't even know this movie, which is probably really bad to admit. But you can kind of see they have to complete 4 different tasks, and the colors are all the different teams. Once the students complete the task, you as the teacher go up here and you're able to check off that the team has completed this, because again, it's a game and they have to go really quickly. So right here is the first task. The students are going to practice in Google Docs. They're going to click this link. Once they click that link, they will have some directions. They will complete this scavenger hunt below, and then they're going to read the different prompts, and then they have to do it over here where it says task. So first they're going to define, and they are going to, oh my gosh, I'm a hot mess today, guys. I thought I had it shared. There we go. So right here on Google's of the Guardian, you can see that they have define, and they are going to define these words. Once they define these words, they are then going to, over here, do that exact task. They're actually going to define those words. After that, they have to practice hyperlinking. And these are skills that you want your students to learn as they are doing different things. So again, these are skills that you expect them to be able to do throughout the school year. So if you're doing this at the beginning of the year, I want my students to use that definition tool. I want them to hyperlink things. I want my students to use pictures. I want them to insert pictures. I want them to highlight. So again, you're kind of setting this up as if these are things that you want your students to do. And again, they're as a group, so they're learning how to share this with a group. They're learning how to work together and work in that collaborative space, which is really hard for students. So again, if you make it a game, they're more likely to work together. Another part of this task is the next task. And so right here, the students, they have a vision board. Again, you can change up these tasks, but this one right here is a vision board. And they're just talking about what they want to kind of feel this year, what they want to experience, what they want to achieve. And then they do an image search. You could have them do this individually as their group, or you could have it be a group project and they work together to create their classroom vision board. So a couple different ways that you could do that activity. On here, she had them do it individually. But again, if you wanted to, you could do like a class or group vision for the year, or you could kind of do it individually. Then this next task is right here. It's using Google Draw. So again, they're going through the different Google, and they're kind of using an infographic. So this infographic, I believe, was created, oh, I wish there was a name on here, by someone. And what you can do is you can grab these icons, and then students do a summer by the number. So they come in here, they add all of their different summer by the number of what they did this summer. This is completed individually on here, but again, you could have the students work together and they could add up all the miles that they traveled this summer. They could add up how many times they went swimming together as a group. And then you kind of can reflect on that. I think it was actually created by Brian Briggs or Ryan McDonald, one of those two. I can't remember which one, but they created this board. And then again, you just drag these icons over here, and then they can write their infographic for the class. This next one over here is using quizzes. So students are going through quizzes and they are working through your syllabus, or they're reviewing some type of tech commands or whatever you want to do. But again, you're going over those different expectations and tech tools that you might use throughout the course of time. So that is Guardians of the Googleverse. And now we are going to keep on going. So go ahead and go back to the Google form. I'm going to share it again. And we're going to go to our second choice winner that might have been chosen. And again, you can vote as many times as you want. Right now we have a tie between 4 and number 2, 4-1. So I'm going to just keep going to 4. Keep voting though, because that next one might be the next option. So right here, we've got breaking up an essay. And I have teachers that hate teaching writing. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but when it comes to writing, it can be really stressful. And so this Google slide is kind of with 8 parts. So 8 parts is an edu protocol. And what students do is they typically have like a graphic organizer, something like this, where they focus on nouns, verbs, adverbs, the 8 different parts of speech. And then their goal is to write a story. And they do this kind of as a bell ringer. So every single day, students come in and they complete that prompt. And so right here, what students would do is they have a prompt. So they've got their essay prompt. They've got that essential question that they need to answer using textual evidence. Once they have that prompt, they then need to decide, what kind of writing am I writing? Am I going to write a narrative? Is this going to be an argumentative type of writing? And again, students are making that kind of, what am I doing? What is expected? And then once they do that, they have to put why they think that. So why did I think that this is a narrative? What did I think this is an argumentative type of writing? And again, students are going to put why they think that in that box. Here's the game plan for the week. So again, we're taking that big essay and we're breaking it down into 5 days. This could be a 6-day essay, depending on how you want to break it down. But I just kind of, for this first one, wanted to do a full week. And so on Monday, students write the introduction. They work on this slide to brainstorm. Then they go to slide number 2. Once they're on slide number 2, they can then write their hook. And this teacher wants them to use a certain strategy. She wants their hook to be about a quote. So they have to use a quote. You could change this, or you could let students pick their own strategy that they might want to use. Once they have that resource down, then they go into the thesis statement and they write down what their thesis is. They write their quote down, they write their claim, and then any background knowledge that they have. Once they have all of the information, like from their graphic organizer, complete, they write their introduction for their essay paragraph. Over here are hint cards to help students kind of put everything in order and to understand what they kind of need to do. Right here is a timer. So again, students just have 10 minutes to do each of these parts. You know your students best, so some students can't handle a timer. And so if that's the case, you might want to take that timer away. But really, that timer allowed me as an educator to stay on pace and say, okay, this activity's done for the day, and you need to kind of work on the next activity. So then day 2 comes and they work on their body. So Wednesday and Tuesday, they're working on their body paragraphs, and they're doing those on 2 different days. So right here, you can see textual evidence number 1. They're citing their sources. Over here, they're writing their claims, transition words that they can use, their commentary, and then they're typing up their body paragraph. Again, this is day number 2. They're not doing this all in one day. Hopefully, they will get to every single day. But right now, this is just day 2. When students write that body paragraph and they finish, again, they've got 10 minutes. So hopefully they can get as much done. There's hint cards also on these 2 slides. Then on Thursday, they're writing the conclusion. So if you wanted to do another body paragraph, that would be maybe added another day. So they might not get to like editing until next Monday. So you can just kind of draw that out if you need to. But for Thursday, I just put the conclusion. And so students are going to then write up their conclusion. They're going to write a transition word. They are going to summarize their body paragraphs. And then they are going to kind of put in conclusion and finish that sentence stem. Then they're going to write their conclusion paragraph. And then on the final day, they're going to put their essay all into this Google slide. And they are going to copy and paste, and then they're going to edit. So they're going to proofread, they're going to polish it, they're going to cite anything, and they can even add any pictures. And again, all of this should be 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And hopefully as students build that stamina, they are able to do an essay in one setting, and they don't need it broken down into a week. But right now, with a lot of our students coming back from COVID, they don't have the stamina to sit there and write a whole essay to be able to do that. Yeah, each of these different slides are in the YouTube videos. So I provided videos for most of the topics, and you just click and then they're in the YouTube description. I'm going to keep on going, and I think this will be our last one. And so it looks like right now we've got option 2 is the next winner. So option number 2 is thin slides. This is another Edu protocol, and it can be a lot of fun for educators to use in their classroom, and it's a quick way to get that exit ticket in their classroom. So right here, there's different templates on this Wakelet with thin slides that people have shared or I have created, but you can just kind of see really quick what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a copy of this slide, and I'm going to call this today's date, and we're all going to try a thin slides. So you can share maybe one image and one word to recap your COVID year. So last year, let's kind of focus on COVID. And what I do is I go in here and everybody works on the same slide deck. So I'm going to make everybody an editor, and I'm going to copy this link and put it into the chat. And if you all could join me on this slide, that would be fantastic. So what you're going to do first is you're going to claim a slide. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go to slide number 3. And I'm going to type my name in here. So go ahead and find a blank slide. If there's not a blank slide, add a slide and add your name. Once you have claimed your slide, you are now going to design your slide. What you're going to do on your slide is one word and one image, and that one word and one image is going to describe your COVID year from last year. Maybe it was awful. Maybe you learned something new. You can use any word and any image that you want to use. And usually students get 5 minutes to do this. We're going to probably do about a minute just because of time. But again, all they need is one word. Okay, so my one word is exhausting. They can go in and they're able to change the font. And it's exhausting because everybody wanted tech support. And then I also had a 1-year-old. So he was exhausting as well. So yeah, go ahead and add your one word. And then you just do a quick Google search. And your students will find images. You can do this for any content that you're teaching. And your students are able then to kind of share real quick how they were feeling throughout the year. You can do this as an SEL check-in if you want to know what their favorite, what their favorite maybe pizza is. They can tell you on a thin slides. They can use that one word and one image. And then after everybody creates their one word and one image, they then share for 5 seconds. So again, it's a quick share. There's very quick. So your students that don't want to share, you're like, it's just 5 seconds. You just have to say one word. Usually students say more than one, and it can be really fun for your students to do. Again, quick exit ticket, quick entrance ticket, and you can see right here how everybody was feeling about COVID. We've got frustrating, done, isolation, 2 years. That was 2 years. That's 2 words, Tom. So only one, but you can see your students can get really creative. And the students that finish before the 5 minutes, they can change their backgrounds. They can decorate their slide. But you can just kind of see how students are able to really quickly share their learning. Issues with this is students on a collaborative slide, they can have some classroom management issues. So what I like to do is I like to kind of go over with the students, and it gets better and better every time you do this, the expectation. Stay on your slide. If you're changing your background, do not change all of the different slides. And so just going over those expectations can really help. You are also able to have your students maybe do this in a small group to build their classroom management skills of having 20 some kids on the same slide. You can also use AutoDraw to do this. You could use Jamboard. You could have students already have their student names on each slide, like Tom just said in the chat. Yeah, so go in ahead of time, add their names, always make a copy so that way you have your original to keep using. But that could be one way that you'll do that. So yeah, thin slides can be a great way to know their knowledge, and you could just assign a blank slide in Classroom. Every kid gets a copy, and that could be one way to do this. All right, our time is over, but if you want more, all of those videos are linked on here. And you are able to kind of explore more. All of the links should be in the YouTube description, but if they're not, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. And then feel free, if you do want more, to join this Google group. I try to send out weekly updates and resources. So if you do want more, this is available for you. And I'll go back up to the top, because if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, and I am more than happy to help assist.